Graph. Hi, Dino.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Talks on Tuesday. I'm Chelsea Richins, and we are a foursome of hosts. We have Barbara and Chase and Julie Stone, and welcome Gino and Renee. Thanks for joining us. I thought I would kind of talk about a takeaway I took from our recent training program in Sedona for Reconnective Healing. And first off, I thought I would kind of give a taste of what reconnective healing is for anybody. Oh, and hi, Faye. See someone joining us. Name Faye, or please chime in if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Because feel free to unmute. We are just talking as a family. But to get back to what I was saying, I thought I would talk about my recent takeaway from our Reconnective Healing Catalyst program. And what is reconnective healing? And I thought, what if I explain it in a little different way that is all about, for me, self-inquiry, finding yourself, knowing yourself, and just introducing yourself to your journey. And I'm trying to, in a little way, trying to get away from heal others, heal yourself aspect. Because I was thinking, is that limiting things to say, and maybe reconnective healing in the future has nothing to do with healing others? And what if the future of reconnective healing is just about our relationship with self? You know what I mean? In simpler terms.
Yeah, that's really interesting, Chelsea. I hadn't even thought about that until just now. And then it became clear to me that when I'm in the frequencies, and for those of you who don't know reconnective healing, it is often practiced by receiving the frequencies. I have such a sense of peace and happiness. And in knowing myself, it's really a revelation to see that I have peace and happiness in myself already. I just need to be aware of it. And that's what reconnective healing does for me every time I engage. It's that knowingness that we are peace, we are happiness, we are strength, regardless of what else we do with the frequencies.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm thinking that, I mean, heal yourself, heal others. Well, that's just part of it. So, coming from your perspective, Chelsea, which is great, and looking at it that way, I think if you're involved with reconnective healing frequencies or frequencies in your everyday life, it's almost like you can't help to start to know yourself, you know. And I think everybody has different levels of that self inquiry. I find it very difficult myself, you know, but it's just, it's like it is benign thing that just sort of happens, unfolds for you. And and um and I guess too, I guess it depends on each person, individual outlook on spirituality, or what they want out of it is what they focus on, you know.
Yeah, Julie. And I wanted to say welcome, Louise, Teresa Louise. from South Africa. Welcome. It's just this topic kind of flowed out of me today, but because amongst some of us, we've been talking about the Catalyst program, and maybe 5 years from now, we walk into what is the Reconnective Healing weekend, and the paradigm shifts, and it's not, okay, we're going to feel this in our hands, and this is how we have our clients. And oh, hi, Christine. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Just kind of talking about what if we walked into a Reconnective Healing training program, and it's more about peace and love and self journey, and less about the ego dynamic of this is how I heal other people.
Yes.
And because I think with the small number of people at our training programs, I think this idea of healing other people is kind of not really the main focus anymore. Yet we go through steps for that still. You know what I mean? Yes, Barbara?
And Chelsea, I think that's a great point, and I like that. But one thing that resonated with me when I heard you bring this up is there's a woman named, I think her name is Naomi Rachel Remen, or it might be Rachel Naomi Remen, but one of those two. And she is a physician who also has a chronic disease herself, and explores a variety of ways to deal with it. And one of the things that she mentioned, which I think is so beautiful, is healing doesn't always mean curing. And I think, to me, when I think of healing myself, even healing others, oh, there's a screeching in the background. I think of that. It's more of, like you say, that self-exploration, and I think about like the different relationships that I've had in my life since Reconnective Healing that have become so much more positive. And yet, I mean, I still have some physical ailments that it's not curing, but in the overall scheme of things, I feel like I have been healed on a deep, deep level. So yeah, maybe kind of shifting that focus is a good way to
I agree
present.
with you a lot. That was, yeah, on different levels.
Mhm.
Go ahead, honey.
Yeah, I'm I'm not in full agreement of this. Maybe I would put it as heal myself and influence and give to others, because the world needs what we are realizing about ourselves and how we are in the world. And while we're constantly, doing our self healing and living in that mode, it is a great contribution to the planet and what we do in the planet and with other people. Without that, if we weren't doing that at all, if that wasn't tied at all into reconnective healing, I probably would not be engaged in reconnective healing, because for me personally, half of it is about others and the status of the planet and life on it.
Yeah, I think
But
that sort of happens.
that you're not.
What?
I love that about you, Gino, that you're not afraid to put your point of view in there. That's great.
Yeah.
Uh,
And that's how I started,
that's
Gino.
a,
Oh,
that's
sorry.
this is conversation, and I just love all these point of views. Go ahead,
Mhm.
Barbara.
No, I hear you, Gino, because
Uh,
that's actually how I started with Reconnective Healing, to be able to offer it to others. And as I continued to explore it, I just had a great revelation. But you're right. I mean, if we walk around healed ourselves, there's this light that kind of is emitted from us that people notice. And, they can't, I mean, we can't help but
Right.
share that. even if it's unintentional.
Sometimes when we're sharing, we don't know that we're sharing it. It's this vibrational thing, and what's that saying? You anywhere you are, you have a healing, or what was that?
That's element.
So yes, if you what do you call it? Like narrow it through it, saying it's just I'm healing others. I'm healing myself. It's bigger than that. Guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. But no, I think that what you're saying is very important, Gino, because caring for
Yes,
others is a big
absolutely.
piece.
Yeah, and I also think it's important to continue doing remote healing or in-person healing. I think that can be very powerful for people, and I think it's potentially great outcomes, and I think that they learn from those outcomes. So yeah, the whole shtick is important to me. But yes, it's not about just having a person on a table and seeing what you can do with them with frequencies and see how they'll be, and then that's the end of the story. And yes, there is a lot of ego potentially in that, and I valiantly, you know, watch myself that I don't want any ego whatsoever in any way coming from me about sessions with clients, or just me out and about in the world, or me in other social activist movements. I eliminate the ego completely because it's nothing but destructive, within when it gets out there.
Yeah, there's so much to this. I mean, as Julie says, we can't just like pinpoint and define what it is because, certainly we are the healing, we are the frequencies, we live in the frequencies, and they don't just come through our hands, they come just in our essence of being, um, whether we're aware we're doing anything or not. And for me, the greatest healings have been my relationship to my own ailments, um, the acceptance that comes with them, and seeing that sometimes our ailments have a purpose. Um, I really wanted my lymphedema to go away, which came about from breast cancer. And I realized later that because it's noticeable, people ask me about it, and it gives me a great opportunity to talk with others about breast cancer, and particularly inflammatory breast cancer, which is hard to spot. And I think I've been able to get people to talk about it just because they see this swollen hand. And that was a healing. It wasn't what I wanted, but it was definitely a healing.
It's a conversation starter.
It is. It can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that healing with yourself and that acceptance, and again, it wasn't a cure, but it definitely kind of did something to your internal being that just kind of helped it get back into harmony or something, It's beautiful. It's just a beautiful acceptance and realization.
Yeah.
And I feel I just want to sort of add in here that we've talked about in Solomon Speaks, we've talked about the chapter that speaks of we don't heal in isolation. We heal in community. We heal in reaching out. We heal in sharing and exchanging and opening ourselves, which maybe is not as comfortable for some people, but I feel this was a gift, although it didn't feel like a gift when I was 20 years old and I was living with alcoholism in my family. And I learned at a very early age how important it was to learn how to share, to connect, to understand, to see where other people and how other people were handling things and situations. And as no one ever talked about these kinds of things behind the scenes, it was such a huge revelation and a relief in many ways to be able to maybe not voice it, but to hear other people share it and to know, oh my God, I didn't know that every other person who lives with the same illness is dealing with the same kind of scenarios. I thought this only happened in our family. And that sense of isolation and that burden of shame and guilt that you carry around is completely alleviated because you know now that you are not alone. And that is such a gift to be able to give to someone, is to notice. The other day I was just traveling wherever I was coming from, and there was a woman on the bus carrying a huge watermelon, and she was trying to get to the front door. And I said, "Okay, looks like you're about to give birth to a watermelon. I better let you pass by." And then someone else chimed in and said, "Oh God, yeah, my dad used to work in a grocery store and someone dropped the watermelon on the floor." And I thought, "Oh, bet that was a huge mess to clean up." And here in the middle of nowhere, you have three people all kind of opening up to the moment of sharing. May have, seemed like a completely irrelevant or unimportant moment, but because we were all there together, we all had something to contribute. And it made that moment of that day, an opportunity to connect. And then we all walked out the door, or she walked out the door with her watermelon, and that was the end of the story. But, we are all here together. And if I've learned anything from living through COVID and surviving that, we are not alone. And when you take a moment to notice somebody, or to, compliment somebody, or to ask somebody, "How are you doing? How is your spirit today?" And to really mean it and to care, those vibrations carry great weight, and they open doors all over the place. And they make this world, as they say, as Einstein says, are we living in a hostile or a friendly world?
Yeah.
And they make this world a
Yes.
friendly world because we open ourselves to it. And
Yes.
if
Yeah.
dozens of people weren't going to the reconnection seminars, not only for the purposes of learning how to hold their hands in the right way and to facilitate a healing, they're going for community, because we desperately need this. We all desperately need this. And that is why people walk through those doors, because there's hope and promise of connecting with other people, not only about the facilitation of healings, but that is the healing.
Totally. Yeah, that is so true. And bringing a smile to somebody's face and really feeling that connection. You're right, Renee. That is,
Of those moments when you
yes.
connect with a couple of people, one, it just brings them kind of awake, alive, and you have a little conversation, very short maybe, and that's it for the day. But you
Yeah.
feel good,
Yeah.
it's nice.
Yeah.
Relates what Renee says to what Gino said, that when you release yourself from the bondage of ego, you're free to speak your truth to whomever you encounter and offer that greeting without fear what's somebody going to think about me? Are they going to think I'm nuts? And it is such a gift.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It makes it fun.
I think it speaks to this, and it's not trite, it's not overused in my opinion, that we are all one. And it's a reminder for everyone. And I have these experiences quite a bit, Renee, as well. And I actually do them on purpose. It makes me feel good, and it helps other people. And I gave a grocery store story a while back, but I have a lot of grocery store stories. Just recently, this morning, and I only bought a couple of cookies from the bakery, and it was in a little brown bag, and I paid for them. And before I left, I asked the guy who was bagging, I says, "Can you help me to the car with this?" And of course, they loved it. They loved it. So yeah, keep it up, Renee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never know when one little thing you may say, or even a smile, how it might change that person's uh, outlook or their day or that moment,
Yeah. Right.
One other experience, I did a remote session with somebody before I got recertified. A couple of different women I did this for, and in our debrief, they were just so warm and loving, and they told me that you are so sweet. You are right there. I just love it. And I'm thinking that even during sessions and debriefs and stuff, who we are and what we're emanating, it makes a huge difference to that person, and they may heal from what they came in for or not, but something happened for them there beyond just the frequency thing, which I don't diminish at all. I think it's great.
The frequency that is during our briefing and debriefing, and it's all energy. It's reconnective healing is who we are. It is source, and interactions are just with anybody, whether it's the grocery store or our client. They're just like golden moments.
Yeah, this morning walking down on the beach, I was thinking that same thing. There was a little bit of a long pathway. We're up on a cliff above the ocean, and a little bit of a long pathway going down. And it's like, oh, I am just so aware of the frequencies and just being involved, and it just felt lovely. It was just that awareness that we are.
I think most people here are familiar with Reconnective Healing, but if you're watching the YouTube recording, you can find out a lot more at thereconnection.com. Just saying.
What I want to say is, I had experience every time I do a healing, that healing I first receive. And that is for me the most precious thing. And I would like to mention a few different things. You people work with your hands, me too. I imagine the person. But what is extremely interesting is that on my third eye, when I work with a person close to me, I started glowing there. If I do distant healing, right above my two pupils, I started glowing there. And it is just amazing how the energy started vibrating through you. And it is really, really the gift of the universe to do a reconnection and first receive that energy as a gift before it flow through you to the next person. And it really, I also had my problems, and I can tell you it is only the reconnection that had turned it around. I learned that trees love reconnection energy. They just love it.
We have a message from Von Vey that is joining us, and she says, "Hi, Mary. I'm in Switzerland, Hungary. We have had 3 weeks ago the seminar in Budapest organized by me." So
Nice.
that's Beatrix.
Oh,
I think that
welcome. Hi.
is my guest.
Yeah. And we are getting close to the
Yes.
end. Oh, hey, Beatrice.
Just
Yeah.
relaxed, and I just enjoyed what you are talking about.
Good. That's
I
good.
hope we have more time next time to talk about these things. And
Yeah.
welcome to you, Beatrix. Good to see you.
I enjoy your paintings.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us today. It was a great conversation.
Thank you, guys. Love you all. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Here.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.